Rarely do I hear anyone say, I have too much time to write. I think we all want to write the best that we can write and enjoy that process with the time that we have. And unfortunately, it's rarely enough. So I'm always thinking about how can I stay connected to the flow so that when I have a little more time one day or a little less time another, I'm doing the things that will get me just a little bit farther down the road towards finished songs. So I want to go over some things that you can do when you have different amounts of time to stay connected and do a little bit almost every day. So come with me. We are going to look at some simple things that you can integrate into your busy daily life to know that you're making progress on your songs. So sometimes I just sit down at the keyboard and I mess around and I forget how much time goes by when I do because I'm just enjoying myself and I'm playing. And it'll go on for days at a time where I'm playing something that's very, very similar. I know this is okay though because I go through phases and you will too. Those phases are often directed by what I'm listening to at the moment, certainly within a container of what I'm able to do and what I typically do when I get to my instrument. So these are okay. You don't have to come to your instrument every day and write something new, but taking the time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just push record and mess around. It's the simplest thing you can do. You probably already do on your instrument. And the trick is not to wind up with 200 or 300 notes, voice notes, around different ideas that you have and then never take them forward. So at the end of each of these 10-minute spurts, what I do is I think, okay, from what I think I've been hearing myself do, here's the chord progression for a section. I'm just looking at a section of a song. And if it's something like this, if it's that, then I'll record that and write over that, And the goal is to just get a section because maybe then another day I come back and I think, okay, my goal right now is to get a contrasting section. And then wind up, I've got two things now that I'm kind of working together. The point here is not to get something finished all in one day, but a section finished. So I don't need a whole song. I just need to commit at a certain point to something that I think I'm going to actually work with. Now, keep it simple. You don't always have to have a million chords. It could be, this is the verse. Much easier to write over for melody. And that's it. Now, another great thing to do with lyric then is to do some object writing or journaling as I'm listening to this chord progression that I've written and recorded. So I'll play it back to myself and I'll think, okay, that sounds like, and you just begin writing and you don't stop. Loop it and see if you can just lose yourself in that mood. I like to set myself up in front of a window and I can just loop that bit that I've recorded, stare out the window, and then start typing. So it's a way to kind of trick my brain or guide my brain into thinking about images, thoughts, feelings that feel like they were inspired by my own music. There's no structure in all of that yet. It's just a paragraph of writing, kind of like this. When I do this kind of writing, then I can look back and think, oh, that sounds like I could take out this line and that line and start singing them a little bit over the top of this piece of music that I've got. So I'm really generating lyrical ideas without really trying to make them lyric. That gets me a little bit further down the road. Now, another thing that I will do is when I hit a wall is I'll just take a break from writing and I'll go and I'll listen to music for a week. Nothing but listening. Just listen. New artists, old artists, things I really haven't explored yet in terms of style and genre. And I'll just see what's out there. A lot of times when I hit a wall, I feel like I'm just sort of tired of the way that I typically interpret the chords and the melody and the words that I'm playing with and the grooves. So I need to get some new information in the mix to inspire me again. Now, when we listen, another thing that we can do is pay special attention to a single element of what we're listening to. So maybe it's melody, and I'll start to sing some of the melodies back, and I'll recognize it's just a repeating melody motif that's just maybe a few notes and nothing special. And I'll realize, well, I could do that. I could certainly write a melody like that. It's sort of bolstering, thinking that not everybody's got the secret and I'm missing it. If you listen to one part at a time. Another thing would be listen to what the drums and bass are doing, how they're interacting. Is that a groove that could complement a new idea that I might be working on? And I'll take that groove and use it. I think when we get into our own writing room, it's easy to think, well, I have to come up with everything original. Everything has to be new. Well, that's not going to be possible for me. I hope it is for you, but it's not happening in this writing room. I have to start with something that stylistically has one foot in something familiar. And so what that means is I could just take my cues from some other songs that I know and love, and I kind of relate them to a style, and that's okay. It's really the groove, maybe the chord progression a bit, that's establishing what that style is. And then I'm going to add to that my melodies, my lyrics, to kind of get me going on something new. Another thing you can do is listen to what the lyric is saying. See if you can summarize thematically what the song is about in one sentence. See if you can identify what the title is or the hook that keeps repeating. Is it something specific that makes you think, well, I could write that. That's just a noun and an adjective. Okay, I'm going to try to create my own that's similar to that. Or I'm going to grab titles one day and just list all these titles that are similar to the titles that I'm hearing. That can be a really great technique that once a week, you just sit there for an hour and you think about titles and images and words that you'd like to collide and see what they make. Could be that you come up with some really interesting phrases and titles that might spark new songs. Now, certainly one of the most familiar things that we've heard we can do is to write a song a day. And you can do this with the aim of releasing all judgment about what makes a good song. And you're going to have to release that, indeed, if you want to finish a song a day. The beautiful result of doing this is that it's opened the sort of aperture of your evaluation of what makes a good song so wide that your judge has to really take a hike. It's difficult until you get into the habit of doing so. And in doing so, some gems are going to fall out. What you can do is after you've done a song a day for several weeks, then you could say, okay, now I'm going to readjust. I'm going to close the aperture just a little bit. I'm going to become a little bit more discerning about what ideas I let out and what I don't, until I get to a point where my internal judge and the productivity is kind of at a place where I'm comfortable. So feel free to overcorrect. That's okay. You can pull it back. And when you find yourself in that space where you're maybe not happy with everything you're writing, but you're happy enough and you're happy with the productivity that you've got, the output that you've got, I think that's that sweet spot that we keep trying to calibrate. Maybe get it wrong from day to day, but at a certain point, I think some of both judgment and non-judgment is needed to be able to feel like we're being able to access that flow on a regular basis. Another thing we can do is write choruses for a week, especially if you're someone who tends to start at the top of the song and you write verses all the way through and you get them into shape and then finally you write the chorus, if you still have any energy in you to do so. This way we write the chorus first. And when you get in the habit of writing a lot of choruses, you worry less about how good they are or what they're doing. So I could lay down a little line or two. Let's say something like, I think it's always me. I think it's always me. I think it's always me. So I've got one line that just repeats over and over again. What if I wanted to try something different, like a title development line? So maybe, I think it's always me. It's always me. I think it's savings, it's set it tones on reach. I think it's always, always me. So I tried to work in the title again on that third line. This might not be something that I would keep, but I'm okay just sort of taking a stab at it and saying, no, that's not it. And so I'm just going to use this title maybe So Close. See where that takes me. If it's just so close, if it's just Jane on the right of time, if it just no phone, if it just goes on a way to right, if it does so on a corner rights, go on. Okay, so I might get something like that and then improve on it, but I'm gonna stick with it a little bit because if I just flit from one half-baked idea to the next, by the end of that 10 minutes, I'm gonna feel like I've got a flurry of too many ideas and nothing that I really felt strongly about. So it's a mixture of playing with a little bit of intention, like I'm trying to get a chorus here, so some repetition of some lines would be helpful. With just a few minutes in the car or waiting for something, you can do this simple exercise. All it is taking a phrase that you kind of like and setting it to a tempo. So I'm going to take away all piano here. I'm not going to play anything. I'm just going to tap out a slow tempo. I'm going to sing. What do I mean to you? What do I mean to you, darling? What do I mean? Okay, and it has kind of a slow, sultry, maybe a little mysterious tone to it. Now I'm going to speed it up, and I'm going to see how this message might change. What do I mean to you? What do I mean to you? Oh, what do I mean? What do I mean to you? Okay, that's kind of interesting. It might have a little more playfulness to it. It's not so serious. It's not suggesting as much that I might not mean something stable or solid to you or the same to you that you mean to me. It's playing with it a little bit. Let me try now fast and see how this title changes. What do I mean to you? What do I mean to you? What do I mean to you? So now it has this feeling of, you gotta tell me because I need to know. Because if I'm not happy with your answer, I'm gonna jet. It's a very different feeling than that slow tempo had. This is a really great brainstorming tool. So any phrase that you really like, that you've written down, that feels like there's something there, your instincts are just like, hey, look at this again. Try that idea. Give yourself 3 different tempos and see if you have a preference or more ideas come, frankly, with one tempo over another, and then go for it. Write the song. Whenever a song idea strikes, aim to write down a full outline instead of getting into the bits and bobs that you'd have to decide on if you're actually going to lay the song down on a recording. So we're trying to just outline the song. What would the first verse basically say? What would the chorus basically say? Now, if I have to think of another verse, what would it basically say? And if I got to a bridge, if I'm that lucky to get through that much of the song and write that bridge down, what would it say? The thing is, when we write these things down in this manner where you're just scribbling out a sentence or two, it really is a beautiful template, a roadmap for you to follow later on. So you're not so much as trying to grab that inspiration again the next time you sit down to write that song, but you're just going to follow the template, the ideas that you had when they felt really resonant. Now, you can also rely on this when it comes down to making decisions, because there was a time when you felt so inspired that what you wrote down was good, and there was no doubt in your mind that it was good. That's what we want to decide on then and never have to redecide, because I think a lot of this indecision that we carry, this doubt as songwriters and creators, tends to creep in and cloud our judgment. So as much as you can capture that initial inspiration, that's what we want to go onto the page and never come off. Don't aim to write lyric. just aim to come up with the soul of the song. You can ask yourself for the verse, what do I think are some examples that make this chorus so true? And for the chorus, you can ask yourself, what does it seem to be that inspires me so much to say this idea? What seems to be the crucial heartstring that I'm pulling on? Then as you get in further sections of the song, in the second verse maybe, what could the flip side of this be? If I were to turn the idea on its head, what's on the back of it? Now I'm going to record another video to help you get through this sort of story and templating idea with greater ease, but try just outlining using your instincts at this point to get through the full length of the song. I hope these tools help you to use the free time that you do have to be inspired and follow a song idea through to the end. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. If you want more for your day-to-day songwriting process, I encourage you to check out the 30-Day Songwriter. That's a course that I designed to help songwriters move through 30 days of intense tools practice and wild creativity unleashing. If you want to check that out, just click the link and I'll see you in there.